All right, we're diving into the finals of the Saturday $10,000 PPG Orlando Lorcana tournament. And if you saw a video on my channel from earlier in the week, we looked at one of the semifinals, which was David Nunez winning against Dragon Johns, another purple steel mirror. And in the finals, we get another purple steel mirror. Purple steel definitely has a big hold on the meta currently. It has for the past two sets. It doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. So if you're going to Richmond's like I am, I would expect your deck should be able to compete against Purple Steel, which it's easier said than done, obviously, right? So both players here shuffling their decks, getting ready to go. I do want to mention, one, thank you for tuning in. If you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know that you're watching. That'd be great. But then secondly, if you want to watch the full VOD of this tournament, obviously this is PPG's tournament. So feel free to go to PPG's channel and watch the full broadcast as well. I'm obviously not going to have time to go through and redo every single match, every single series throughout the tournament, but definitely feel free to go check out PPG's channel on Twitch. If you subscribe to them, you can watch the full VOD, every single match. And if you really love Lorcana and really want to learn the game more, definitely worth your time there. So as I said, both players here, shoveling their decks, just did a little bit of a mulligan, reshuffling here, and we're going to get up and running. And as you can see on the screens, you can see that David comes in as the first seed and Yanick comes in as the third seed, which really matters in the bracket of one of these tournaments. If you're new to Lorcana and you haven't played kind of in the competitive scene yet, or played like in a set championship, or maybe you're stored as set championships differently, which is also possible. But the way that these tournaments work out is that the higher seeded player gets to choose whether they want to go first or go second in this first game. And if you've played Lorcana, you know that going first is such a big advantage in this, especially in a mirror match. So David getting to go first here in the finals is a really big deal. And that's a lot, and that's different compared to just playing casually or playing at locals where you do you do a little dice roll, usually roll two dice. Whoever has the highest gets to pick whether they want to go first or second. But yeah, David gets to go first here. You can see he's going to start off by inking an Elsa, playing down the Royal Guard there. Again, if you've watched Purple Steel or played Purple Steel, you know that Royal Guard on turn one is a force. That 1/4 body obviously can get banished with any sort of targeting, of course. But the 1/4 body is so good, and if you want to spend any ink on getting rid of it, it's definitely worth it. You can see after that, David follows it up with inking his Cobra, playing down the 2-cost Olaf, which I think is such an interesting card in this format that, once it's taken out of play, whether that's with being banished or, hands held high, return to your hand or something like that, it allows you to return another card to your hand. So it allows you to bounce a Cobra, bounce a Dock, bounce all those great Purple Steel tools that you would expect. And you can see Yanick instead of the Olaf goes with Black Heron, which obviously is a more standard play. That little 3/3 2-cost there. David follows up with a Cobra here. Where both players are curving out nicely. 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop here. So looking at Yannick's hands, it looks like we have a Strength in there. Definitely see a Dumbo, maybe an Elsa, I believe as well. It's hard to tell. I wish that we had a way of knowing exactly what was in their hand, but then there's also an opportunity to cheat there for as well. So anyways, let's see. Okay, so Inks is Dumbo. So Inks a little bit of a draw engine. Plays his Lexington, which obviously has that Stone by Day, which if you have 3 more cards in your hands, the character can't ready, but it is alert and it's a 4/4, so it doesn't it can hit a genie, but as we talked about in our last video, this big swing here on turn 4, or sometimes even on turn 3, but generally on turn 4, you have 4 characters down. You can sing with the 3-cost character, Strength of a Raging Fire, and hit for 4. Takes that Lexington out, and it's just such a big tempo swing here for David that now he can start questing out with some characters now because there's nothing that Yanick can really do. Now we're getting into some genie wars back and forth. David's got 2 genies down. Yanick played genie last turn. And like I said, he can start questing now with that Giant Cobra and Genie, because there's not a lot that Yanick can really do about it. Next turn, potentially hitting the Genie into that with his Genie, and then, excuse me, if he has Cheshire Cat in his hand, that's possible. I'm not sure if PPG was an open decklist format for this bracket stage. I'm not sure if David knows. Maybe Yannick's not playing as many Cheshire Cats. Like that's another big thing that happens in these big tournaments is that generally in bracket play, both players know exactly what cards are in the other player's decks. So, for example, if you're playing green-blue and you don't run Under the Seas, like, there's no reason not to go wide for the other player, right? Because the only board clear that they have in their deck is that Prince Philip combo, and you know when it's going to come out as well, depending on what they're playing. So, anyways, Yanick's in tough situation here. Obviously, tempo swing, pretty tough for him. You can see he uses Elsa to exert that Olaf. He goes ahead and sings Strength on the Genie. He's going to take out Olaf with the Elsa. We're going to see if David decides to bounce something back here. Obviously, the two Palace guards probably not the target he's looking for here. But I know it's always interesting whether he wants to take Giant Cobra or Genie back. Which another thing about Purple Steel is that he's currently holding one card in his hand. And if you're playing against Purple Steel, that one card that the other player is probably holding onto is most likely a dock, right? If they're holding one card in their hand, it's probably a dock, which means he would not want to return anything else to his hand because he wants to play dock and start cycling here. Ooh, but it's a Demona. So, okay, so new card from this set. Demona's coming down, 6 costs, exerts all of Yanick's characters, and both players draw to get 3 cards in their hand. So Yanick still had 3 cards in his hand, so he doesn't get to draw anything here. But David gets to draw 3 full. He draws into a Strength of Raging Fire that can get into that Genie there. And now he can just take some advantageous trades here, right? Like that Giant Cobra can trade 2 for 1 with that Black Heron and the Palace card. Next turn, assuming Yanick decides to take that out, and then he can just start questing here. So David's up to 6 questing. Yanick's still at 1. He's got a huge tempo advantage here, so we're going to need to see a big tempo swing here from Yanick to get him back into this game on the draw in this mirror, which again, as you saw from the semifinals, it is very, very difficult to win a game mirror Purple Steel on the draw, which is why this deck, it's why personally for me, I've decided not to play Purple Steel because I know that you're going to find a lot of it in a big Swiss tournament like a DLC Richmond or DLC Milwaukee, and it's large. It's not to say that you can't win on the draw because you definitely can, but it is definitely tough to do so. So he's going to take a Genie, go ahead and draw a card. If he had that Dumbo, he would be able to draw another card with that Elsa, but he inked it earlier. I think he's still holding a Strength in his hand, potentially, but he's just trying to decide how he can swing this tempo back here. Inks an Olaf, plays down the Calhoun, sings Strength onto the Genie there of David. Palace Guard can take out the Giant Cobra. So that's a decent tempo swing there. So now we're back to 3 characters each. Which, if you remember from, a couple minutes ago, it was like 6-3 or something like that. So big tempo swing back in Yanick's favor. So let's see what David does here. Of course, he does have those cards from the Demona earlier. I think he's holding 2, I believe, as he's shuffling them in his hands. The little scorekeeper is hiding it from us seeing it in his camera. But yeah, you can see from David's face how big of a swing that was from Yanick there for that Strength of Raging Fire. Sing there to take out the Genie. Like, that's a pretty big swing because if you look at David's board, there's no evasive characters. Like, he does have that Demona, which is a scary 5/6. Like, it's a big body that Yanick has to deal with. But on the other hand, David can't attack the Genie, and David can't attack. He can't attack the. There we go. Sorry about that. So he does play down the Cobra. He did get rid of a Hypnotic Strength to gain that 2 lore. So now he's sitting at 12 and he quested out with the Demona and the 2 Palace Guards. So now he's just kind of saying, hey, like, I'm at the point where I could win this game. I am going to start putting pressure on you. As playing Purple Steel, once you kind of get to that point of having 10, 12, 14 lore, like, you can start threatening the game with what you have on the board, along with White Roses if you're playing those, and the Giant Cobras, which everyone is playing. So let's see if Yanick can somehow swing this back. I saw a Dumbo in his hands, which he is going to put down. But the problem with Dumbo is that it's a bit slow. Tempo-wise, it's a bit slow. And so he could, of course, activate that Dumbo ability, gain a lore, draw a card, which he's going to with that Elsa. He's going to draw a card. I don't think he's inked yet. He has a Giant Cobra. I don't know what the other card is in his hand. But yeah, he's in a bad spot here. I mean, what is in his favor is that, he does have the evasive characters versus David doesn't. He does take that Genie and Calhoun into that Palace Guard, which is going to gain him 2 lore and take out one of those characters. But David's currently representing 16 on the board with a card in his hands, which is, tough for Yanick to deal with because he's still, like, that Demona is still just sitting there. And I think barring like a Hades or something, he's going to have a hard time dealing with. He just drew into the Cheshire Cat as well, which could give him, like, that could help him out. No, he still can't take out any of the evasive characters. He could move the 2 damage from Elsa onto the Calhoun and just take it out. But yeah, he's going to do that. Move the 2 damage from that giant Cobra if he wants to. Yeah, he's going to boost the Cheshire Cat, move the 2 damage onto... It's a tough call here because he can't take out anything. Yeah, so he's going to put it on Dumbo. So Dumbo's going to have one life left. He's going to quest out with Demona and Palace Guard to get to 15. So yeah, now the good thing about that for David is that he's gonna he's gonna have to he's gonna have to swing the full Dumbo into that. He doesn't know that Yanick, has that Cheshire Cat in his hand. So if he didn't move that damage, he could have shifted 2 damage back over to the giant Cobra and take it out. So yeah, it's an interesting spot here. Okay, he is gonna draw one with the Dumbo. Because he just needs to dig a little bit and see, like, he needs to find like a strength. He needs to find something. Yeah, but I think he has Demona, Cheshire Cats, maybe an Elsa in there as well. If I saw it correctly, yeah, giant Cobra. But none of those cards are going to affect the board state right now, which is what he needs. With the exception of the Cheshire Cat kind of does. Because it's going to allow him to take out the giant Cobra. And, I mean, the good thing about that is... Maybe he didn't have the Cheshire Cat. Maybe he didn't have it. He is going to swing both of those into the Palace Guard and take it out. Play the Tinkerbell. He did not activate the giant Cobra, draw 2 lore. So now David's going to be sitting on 19 lore on the board. If he has a White Crows or a giant Cobra, this game is over. I'm assuming he doesn't have it, or else he would have just played it straight up. I saw Calhoun in his hands. Oh, so he targeted Hypnotic Strength onto the giant Cobra, which takes it out. So he did get to draw a card and do that. He does move that 1 damage to the Dumbo, which will take that out as well. Plays the Calhoun. Yeah, I'm just not... I mean, obviously David wants to make sure that he's not going to make any mistakes here, but I don't really see any way that Yanick can get out of this hole that he's in here in this game. David's going to quest up to 18. Doesn't have to quest for the Cheshire Cat. He's got lethal multiple ways on the board. Like Calhoun can take something out. Well, I guess the good thing about Yanick's board is it's all evasive, so it's not like he can do anything with it. But okay, David also has the Strength of Raging Fire, kind of adding insult to injury there. Yanick's just trying to think, does he have anything to do? Does he have anything that can save him here? And I don't think he does. Yeah, he's going to scoop up here. He's going to scoop up, and David's going to take game 1 of the finals here. Going first in the mirror. Again, it's a tough for Yanick to kind of come back there. Especially David had some great tempo swings with that Strength of Raging Fire on turn 4. To take out the genie. It just had all the answers that he needs, right? And Purple Steel is one of those decks, especially on the play, that if they have it, it's very, very hard to come back and swing that tempo back in your favor. So we'll fast forward in here and jump into game 2. All right, so both players are shuffled up, ready to go. Starting off, Yanick, obviously going first this time, is going to ink that Demona, play the Palace Guard. David, ink Blank Herring, play the Captain Hook. So again, nothing crazy going on here at the beginning. Yanick's going to take a quick lore lead, going up 1-0. And listen, there's no better feeling than after losing the first game, you just take that lore lead. It's nice. It's nice to say, like, listen, he's winning. Like, if the clock ran out now, which this is an on-time final, but if the clock ran out right now, he would win. It's great. Or at least that's what I tell myself after I lose game 1 and quest first. It feels good. So he's trying to decide what to do here on turn 2. I'm hoping, obviously I can't see his hand. He has a donk, which you definitely don't want to just toss down on turn 2. I don't know that he has any other 2 costs in his hand, which is tough. Tough to Okay, I'm sorry. I did not see the Calhouns. Listen, I was exaggerating there. Calhoun's a good turn 2 play, so he's fine. His facial expressions did not look like he wanted to play the Calhoun, but there it is. Okay, so Calhoun's down. David, same deal. Plays down to Calhoun on turn 2. Pretty good card, I heard. Unfortunately for Yanick, he doesn't have that strength in his hand. And that strength is such a big tempo swing going first in this matchup. David, on the other hand, does have a strength in his hand. So if Yanick can't, take advantage of going first here and getting that strength down, that's going to be David's going to be able to swing the tempo back in his favor. You can see he does play down the Giant Cobra after inking Lexington, and does toss a dock to gain 2 lore. That's going to signify for David that he does have another dock in his hand, right? Like, so Yanick has 2 cards left in his hand. One of those is definitely a dock, right? If you're playing against this, and again, these turns are looking pretty familiar. David plays down his Giant Cobra, but he decides to not activate it. And I think, he just drew into the Elsa. He has to ink it to play the Genie because his other card is dock. And again, at this point, it's very, very obvious what's going on here, right? That Yanick, that last card in his hand is definitely dock. And that allows David to kind of play around that. However, Yanick, he's up to 5, right? And, the goal of Lorcana is to get to 20, and he's already at 5. However, David does have that strength this turn. So that Giant Cobra, I would expect to sing strength this turn. Once he passes it over, he is going to quest with his Palace Guard as well. Go to 6, Yanick is. Oh my gosh, he has 2 strength in his hand. So this could be tough. Yeah, he's going to ink, play something, sing strength onto the Genie there. Big tempo swing back, and it just feels awful, right? Because there's not much you can do. That Iago now sits on the board for David, which obviously, if he targets it with something, it's gone, but it's a problem he has. He doesn't have anything to target it with, right? So it's just going to sit there and kind of stare at him. And it's like, if you have a song, if you have an action, do you target the Cobra or do you target the Iago? And it's like, I don't know. But he is going to play as Olaf. He is going to play the dock, which allows him to draw into... Is that a Timothy? Yeah, a little Timothy Cute Mouse, which I think is a really cool card in Purple Steel because there's so many good evasive cards that you're playing in Purple Steel that you're generally going to be able to activate that. Let's show him Dumbo. While you have a character with evasive at play, gain 1 lore whenever you quest. So that's generally going to be able to activate. So yeah, his board is quite scary now, but David still has that Iago staring at him, which is scary. And the 1 card left in Yanick's hand, I believe, is another Genie. So, but what's great about Yanick's setup currently is he has that Olaf with the dock. So next turn, if something on David's side is exerted, he can swing that Olaf into it and then bounce that dot back to his hand and just continue to chain more cards out, which is great. There is another strength in David's hand currently. So, there's a lot of, there's still a Giant Cobra out there he can hit. He could hit the Calhoun. A lot of good options there. He is going to play down the Cheshire Cat. And then it looks like he is going to sing that strength. No, just kidding. Decided against it. I don't think he really needs to sing the strength this turn. He is going to decide to, with that Giant Cobra, and target the dock to stop that. Wow. And that's the power of that Olaf card, right? Like, if once dock is down on the board before that Olaf card, there was really no reason to... You didn't have to stress out about it, right? It didn't matter. Like that dock, it's going to quest for 1 and it's a 1/3. It's not really doing any damage. It's not questing for much. So it just kind of sat there for a while. But now with the inclusion of Olaf, then the fact that it can bounce back, it's a big threat now, right? So he does pass turn back to Yanick. Yanick plays the Genie. It's what he had in his hands. I'm not sure what the other, so obviously he got to draw a card and replace that Genie he just played in his hand. I'm not sure exactly what he has now, but now he's in an interesting spot because he doesn't have the card draw anymore with the Olaf bounce. Like, there's not really anything for Olaf to get back into his hands. He doesn't really want to swing Olaf and Giant Cobra because is he going to swing Olaf and Calhoun to take that out? He could, but what does he really bounce back? Maybe the Genie to draw an extra card next turn. A lot of interesting options here for Yanick. I'm honestly not sure what the right one is. This is kind of, if you remember at the beginning of the set, there was just a lot of, wide boards and a lot of people just staring at each other in situations just like this one where you don't want to make the first move because that Cheshire Cat is sitting there staring at you as well. It's going to allow that Iago to just get infinite value on trades, right? So you want to find some way to get rid of that Iago before you start exerting. If not, then it's just going to be infinite value. But the longer you wait, the bigger the board David has, and if he pulls another strength, like you're in a lot of trouble. So Yanick does decide to go ahead and quest with the Timothy Q Mouse and the Palace Guard, so it's going to give him two for the Timothy Q and one for the Palace Guard. And he's still trying to decide if he's going to do anything else. I think probably not, because you definitely can't quest with Genie. Well, I guess Genie is drying, so he definitely can't quest with that. So he could do something with the Olaf, Giant Cobra, and Calhoun, but not a lot of great options for that. 2 cards in his hand, can't really do much with as well. He's in a rough spot. He's in a rough spot for sure. He decides to pass. So David is readying up, draws into a Genie. Not a bad top deck when you have no cards in your hand. Draws into an Elsa, which he can't use this turn, but it's not the worst card for next turn, right? Because there's a lot of cards on the board that he would love to exert and take some shots at, right? Iago is going to go ahead and take out Timothy Q, which makes a lot of sense. Giant Cobra into the Palace Guard. He does actually... Okay, he inks the Elsa so he can move the 2 damage onto the Olaf. And then, let's see, he's going to have to decide whether he wants to bounce anything or not. So he's definitely thinking about it. I mean, your options would be potentially the Genie, I think. I don't think he's close enough in lore to take back that Cobra. So yeah, I think Genie to draw another card's not bad, but like if your turn next, if your turn next is play Genie, draw a card, and pass, like David just tempo wise is speeding up past you. And you can see David's discard is just 2 strengths, right? Like nothing else has happened this game for him. The best thing for Olaf is like if he was able to like quest with the Genie, take the Olaf, bounce it back into his hand, like that would have been pretty good for him. But it's a long decision because this is potentially okay. He decides not to do it, right? Okay, he does draw into a strength, which is extremely good right here. That's probably the best card he could draw because that's going to allow him to take care of that Iago finally. If that's what he decides to do. I mean, there's the Cheshire Cat's also scary there as well. But I think that's going to be the play. He is going to hard cast strength on Iago. And then decide to play down. Play down Black Heron there. And then he's going to go and quest with the Cobra. Get the 10. And pass it back to David. So David again is top decking. Oh, he top decks a Demona and has exactly six ink. I mean, it's obviously a good card for David, but Yanick also gets a draw 2 as well here, right? He has that Thunderbolt in his hand as well, which is it's a lot of great targets with the Thunderbolt. He could sing it with Genie if he wanted to. Yeah, so I mean, he can just clear the full board here, right? So Giant Cobra into that. Calhoun. Yep. Cheshire Cat into the Black Heron, then he could sing Thunderbolt. Yep. That's the play, right? Yep. So yeah, hitting that. So Cheshire Cat's going to get to stay alive. Cobras are going to trade, Calhouns are going to trade, but they're going to trade, and David's going to gain 2 lore off of it, which is spectacular. Now he can quest with the Captain Hook to get up to 3, and now Yanick's okay, and he has an Olaf, which is great because he could bounce that Demona back and draw even more cards if he wants to. So Yanick's back at square 0 now, unfortunately, and it's like David's representing 7 lore on the board, so like he's on like a 3-turn timer now, right? So plays down Lexington, plays down Calhoun. That's the best use of his 5 ink. He does have another strength in his hand, which is not bad. However, the Cheshire Cat can just boost and take out the Calhoun, right? Like yeah, I mean, David's just, I mean, that Demona top deck was exactly what he needed on that turn to just be able to swing this game, because it also exerts everything, which is a really big swing as well, which allows you to take out cards that you might not have been able to before. And now he's just a 1-turn clock here, right? So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's representing 10 on board right now. Obviously, Yanick can take out a genie with the Lexington, right? Like to get him down to 8, which will give him a 1 more turn. But he needs the Prince Philip combo here. That's what he needs. That's his out. Which he's playing the wrong colors and doesn't have enough ink for it either way, right? Like, I'm not sure how he's going to get out of this. But Lexington has to take out something, or else next game David just quests and wins the finals, right? So to buy another turn, Lexington has to do some work here. See Cheshire Cat, Elsa. So, like, Lexington could swing into Olaf. Like, Cheshire Cat could come down, bounce a 2 damage onto Captain Hook, Olaf, something like that to get rid of 2 characters. That's going to help him out just a little bit, but he's still going to be struggling to get back into this game for sure. Yeah, it's just like, especially in these untimed finals, it's you gotta sit here and take your time here to make sure that you're not missing any outs to stay in this game. But okay, so Lexington goes into the Cheshire Cat, which, okay, he plays Cheshire Cat. He boosts the Cheshire Cat and takes out Captain Hook. So 2, 4, 5, 6. So now David is representing 8 on the board. And he's top decking still. Wow. Top deck's a donk. Sometimes it's like that. He's top deck's a donk. I mean, not that he needed it, but plays the Demona, gets to draw 3 more cards. Definitely drew a Hades there, but yeah, again, it doesn't really matter what he draws at this point. Like, it's just got to do some board cleanup here. If he even wants to. Like, he doesn't take out everything, but he's going to go and quest for 6 to get to 17. And now he's, like, obviously representing lethal. He's got 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 11 on board to get to 28. So yeah, David takes the $10,000 Lorcana PPG Orlando Saturday tournament. So great showing from David. Obviously, being at number 1 seed going into the semifinals and finals, playing mirrors, pretty good, pretty helpful for sure. But definitely, as you saw, in the finals as well, like he was able to win on the draw, which on the mirror, which obviously shows that even if he wasn't top seed, he'd still have a chance of winning this tournament. So again, thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're going to put out a lot more videos like these of just watching some old Lorcana games from tournaments and just giving some commentary over them and just kind of outlining the skills of these players to the community. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.